Hey everybody, welcome back. I am in the Shenandoah National Park, finally and officially. I am at Black Rock Hut. Here in the Shenandoah National Park, they call their shelters huts. Apparently that's so that you don't get them confused with what they call a shelter, and that's some sort of day-use structure, maybe a pavilion or something, I don't know. But it's a shelter to me, it's the same thing. Camped here last night up the hill. They had a couple of tent pads stuck. Norris and I stayed here. You actually come to a shelter before this, south of here when you leave Rockfish Gap. That's just not officially in the national park, but it is in the national forest. But anyways, I told you I was going to get you caught up on Waynesboro the last time I talked to you, and I'm going to. So Ming's Garden, totally legitimate. That place was awesome. You should definitely stop in there, especially if you're hiking. You're really going to enjoy it. And Basic City Brewing. I really enjoyed that place. They have really good beer. It's a really cool atmosphere. It's a newer brewery. They apparently have been there, opened within a year or so. But it's a really neat place. They have a lot of games and stuff. You can have a good time in there. My next stop is going to be Luray, Virginia, which I'm really excited about. That's about 80 miles in from Rockfish Gap. I'm going to need to get a resupply there. And I chose Luray because I want to go check out the caverns. I got to go check them out when I was a kid, and I remember thinking they were really cool. So it'll be cool to go check them out as an adult. So anyways, I'm going to get hiking for the day, and as always, I'll be keeping you posted. So I'm on my second official day hiking through the Shenandoah National Park. Yesterday was pretty uneventful. I didn't really see any kind of wildlife or anything. Well, I did see a hornet's nest. I'll show you that. But today, I've already seen 2 bears, which is pretty typical through Shenandoah. Apparently, it's known for just having tons of bears. They're all protected, they're not hunted. And according to people that have come through here, they're everywhere. So I'm inclined to believe that because there's some bear scat right there I'm walking past. And I've already seen 2. And we've seen a bunch leading up to Shenandoah too. So apparently there's an overflow of bears in this area. But anyways, I'm on day 2. Gotta tell you, feeling like a new man out here. Got some much needed gear while I was in Waynesboro. I was actually supposed to get it in Glasgow, but it's a long story. Ended up getting it in Waynesboro. Got new shoes and insoles, which were way overdue. Got a new water bladder. As I told you in my last video, mine had finally sprung a leak. Gotta recommend that bag a lot. I got like 750 miles out of one bag, and I used it exclusively to filter my water during those 750 miles. So gotta recommend that over the Sawyer bags. Stuck Norris was getting like 250 miles or so out of those. So pick up the New bottles, bladders anyways, if you're using a Sawyer squeeze system. But I need to tell you about the trail through the Shenandoah National Park. This trail stays really close to and crosses Skyline Drive a lot. Today's a Saturday, and there's all kinds of people out here. I'll be surprised if I can get this video shot without running into a bunch of people. All the parking lots are full. People are out day hiking, but it is a pretty day. Yesterday was really hot, but today it's a little cooler. It's nice, so I don't blame them. Pretty day for a hike. But along Shenandoah, as you're crossing, there's these things called waysides, and they're like, from what I've heard, I've never been to one, apparently like a little short order grill. You can get like burgers and milkshakes and stuff. And then they also have campgrounds and stuff like that for car camping, just people out with the family. And today we are going to we're going to pass Loft Mountain Campground, and they have a little camp store there. It's not a wayside with a short order grill, but if we wanted to go to the wayside, we'd have to go down like a real steep side trail, and we're just going to skip that one. We'll hit the next one, but we'll stop at the camp store. In the reading I did about it, they apparently have like convenience store type stuff, car camping food. So maybe we'll score some hot dogs to pack out for tonight, and get, you know, a cold soda and maybe some ice cream. That'd be pretty sweet. But we'll see what they've got. So I'm looking forward to that. But anyways, as always, I'll let you know how it goes. Alright folks, I have no idea how I completely forgot to tell you this, but as a part of the gear that I had sent to me in Waynesboro was a hip belt for my pack. I've lost so much weight out here that my hip belt that was originally on my pack was just too big. It wouldn't cinch down tight enough to let weight ride on my hips. So most of the weight was riding on my shoulders. And let me tell you, that's murder when most of the weight's riding on your shoulders. So I was able to get a new one, had Z-Pack send it to me. It's feeling great. I have no idea how much weight I've lost out here, but I think it was Damascus was the last time that I actually got on a scale. And by that time, I think I'd lost like 65 pounds, but I'll keep you updated on that too. I need to get on a scale, and I'll let you know where I'm at with that. So anyways, I'll talk to you soon. All right, so I got to let you know what happened when we got to the camp store I was telling you about. We arrived at the camp store. It wasn't very far off the trail, and you know, we went in there. It's actually a pretty good sized store, and I saw this. So you can't be throwing temptation at me like that and expect me to get a whole bunch of miles done after that. And also right there at the camp store, there's coin-operated showers and laundry, which was pretty tempting as well. So Stuck Norris and I decided, you know what, we'll stay there. It's just a car camping campground. It was really nice. It didn't seem like it was going to be too loud or obnoxious or anything, and it wasn't. So we go to the entrance station, which is where you would, you know, go ahead and pay for a campsite and everything. I think it was $15 is what they charge for a campsite, but you can get a couple of tents on it, so it's no big deal. And the ranger that was there, super nice guy. His name is Mark. Mark, he asked us right away if we're through hikers, and we told him yes, and he was really cool. He apparently hiked the trail in 1974, which is really awesome. And at that point, we discovered that the campground was full, which was pretty disappointing, but he was like, y'all guys just hang out here, I'll see what I can do with you. So maybe 10 minutes later, another ranger shows up in a vehicle, and he had mentioned that they have like a field area, big camp spot. It's actually several camp spots that are all together that another family had rented out, you know, for the weekend. And he noticed that they had a bunch of extra space. So the ranger in the vehicle told Stuck Norris and I, said hop in. He drove us to the campsite, which was awesome because this is a big campground. We didn't want to have to walk there if we didn't have to, but he offered it right up for us to walk over there, or to get a ride over there instead of walking. So we get there, and he goes over and he asks the people that had rented out the camp spot, you know, if it's cool if a couple of thru-hikers stayed there, you know, and they had plenty of extra space, and right away they were like, yeah, that's no problem at all, you know, let them set up, it's all good, which was really cool of them. So we got set up and everything, and turns out they were a really cool group. We ended up hanging out with that group pretty much all night, man. They knew how to have fun, you know, they were up, you know, having some brews, you know, playing guitar, singing. They were a great time. And then the following morning, when we got up, they brought us over all kinds of food. They had chicken that they had cooked up, hot dogs, and, you know, it was all delicious. Stuck Norris and I ate all that last night, and it was awesome of them to give that to us, and awesome of them to share their camp space with us, because if they wouldn't have done that, with the campground being full, we would have had to hike on about another 7 miles that day. So thanks to them, we were able to hang out. We got showers, laundry, we were able to drink some beer, enjoy ourselves, meet a lot of cool people at this campsite, or the campground in general. Everybody was really cool. So thanks again for that. But anyways, now I'm down at, I think it's called Black Rock Hut, which is the hut that's about 7 miles away. We got here yesterday after leaving the campground, and I'm getting ready to hike out again for today. So I will let you know how it goes. All right, I think y'all are gonna get a kick out of this. So Stuck Norris left camp before I did today, and About 2 miles in, I caught up to him. We were just starting to climb up this mountain past some gap where we crossed Skyline Drive. And he was moving pretty slow. And he's like, oh, hey man, just go around me. I'm moving slow today. So I didn't think much of it. And I get to the top of the mountain and I sit down to have lunch. And it takes him a while to catch up. And this is like only like another mile or two past where I had passed him. And that's not like him at all. We usually hike at a pretty similar pace. So I got to thinking about it while I'm sitting there waiting on him, like, man, what's up with him? And it finally clicked with me. So when he gets up there and he met me for lunch, I asked him, I said, hey man, you know, because he had even mentioned again that he was like, man, I'm not feeling it today, you know? He's like, man, it's taking me forever to get anywhere. And so I asked him, I said, Stuck Norris, what'd you eat for breakfast? And I sort of knew the answer to this question. Not like I really pay attention to what he's eating, but this morning I happened to make an observation, and the answer is 7 hot dogs. It's like, dude, apparently we had 7 hot dogs left over from our friends there at that Loft Mountain campsite, and that's what he had for breakfast. So it's like, man, no wonder you're a little sluggish today. So anyways, I thought that was a trip. That's your Stuck Norris story of the day. You can see that the trail is slightly overgrown through here, so I'm going to be keeping my eye out for snakes because they're definitely around. Alright folks, I want to talk about something real quick, and that is trash. We're in the back country on the Appalachian Trail, and there are no trash cans, obviously. Right now, being in the Shenandoah National Park, we're lucky enough to cross parking lots and get to waysides and stuff frequently enough that we only have to carry a couple of days worth of trash at a time. However, normally we're carrying it for 4 to 5 days from town to town, which it just comes with the territory. That's what you do, you pack your trash out. The reason that I wanted to talk about it is because last night when I got to the Pine Field Hut, I went up to check out the camping area, the tent pads, and somebody had left a bag of trash up there. And this place is crawling with bears. The Shenandoah National Park is. I've seen 8 bears, black bears, in probably the last 30 miles. So we definitely don't need to be getting them used to or reliant upon human food for obvious reasons. You know, it's for their safety and ours. So please pack out your trash. Now, you normally will see trash laying around at shelters or campsites when you get close to roads and you know, places that are easily accessible to people to just come out for a day, party it up, camp, stuff like that. But this person that left the trash, both Stuck Norris and I have reason to believe was a thru-hiker. A lot of signs point to them because we've seen them smoking a certain brand of cigarettes, which is not common, and using a fuel canister of a certain brand and a certain rice side. I mean, there's a lot of things that point towards this being a thru-hiker. And we have to live out here, you know. They ought to know that because they have to live out here too. Don't leave trash. So somebody's got to pack it out. I mean, we couldn't just leave it there. So Stuck Norris and I divvied it up. He's got half the trash, I've got half the trash. And we're having to carry it out for this person. So please, people, please pack out your trash. It's not that hard. There's another bear in the middle of the screen. And off here she goes. Morning, everybody. I just left the Lewis Mountain Campground. Stuck Norris and I stayed there last night. We initially didn't intend on staying there. We were going to stay at the shelter just beyond the campground. But since we had such a good experience at the Loft Mountain Campground a few nights ago, we decided we'd check it out, which I'm really glad that we did. We had a really good time there as well. The guy that runs a camp store there, his name's Nigel, was super nice. You could tell that he just wanted to make sure hikers are taken care of. He gave us a lot of good information, made sure that we were able to get showers. We didn't have time. We got there about an hour before he closed, so we didn't have time yesterday to get any laundry done, but he made sure that we were able to get our laundry done early this morning so it didn't hold us up. And also, when we told him what our destination for today is, which is Big Meadows Campground, that's right, don't judge me, we're going to stay at that campground tonight because they do have beer, and we can get shower and laundry 2 nights in a row. That'll be the first time that's happened out here on the trail. But anyways, when I told him what our destination was for today, he gave me some really good information about where to stop, where to get off the trail to get into there and everything. That's probably saved us a lot of time and a mile or two. So thanks again for that. But like I said, we're heading to the Big Meadows Campground, which I'm pretty excited about. Hopefully we'll meet some cool people. I do recommend staying at these campgrounds when you come through here. They're very reasonably priced. I think it's like anywhere from $15 to $20 per site, but you can get a couple of tents on it. So you split that with somebody and it's really reasonable, and you get to meet some really cool people. So anyways, I'm gonna get into Big Meadows Campground and I'll certainly let you know how that goes. All right, everybody, I need to go ahead and get you caught up on how Big Meadows Campground went. It actually went amazing. And just like I was saying in that last clip that I just showed you, the reason that you do that you stop at those car camping areas through Shenandoah, is that you're gonna meet cool people. And of course we did. The only complaint I have about that particular campground, and it's not any fault of their own, it's set up for car camping, is that the Wayside, which is like the little restaurant, and the camp store, which are all together, are about 3/4 of a mile from the actual camping area. But you can get off the trail right there, go into the Wayside, get what you need at the camp store, and then you can walk up the path to the camping area, which, like I said, it's about 3/4 of a mile, but it's a really easy path to walk. It's actually like a golf cart path, so it's no big deal at all. But we knew that we were going to want to go back in the morning to the Wayside and have breakfast, so we just walked the path back, went to the Wayside, had breakfast, and then just got back on the trail where we left off the next morning. So, as I'm telling you about interesting people, when we got to the entrance station, the ranger station right there at the entrance to the campground, where we were wanting to register and get a spot and everything, there were 2 people there that looked pretty interesting. One of them was on a motorcycle, and you know, he had it all saddlebagged up and everything. You could tell he was on some sort of long-term adventure, and you know, he was camping along the way. And then there was another guy that was bike packing with a bicycle, and you know, he had his bike all set up, and you know, they both just, it was just, you know, I could tell that they'd be interesting people. And ironically enough, we all end up getting these camp spots like in a little triangular area within 40 yards of each other. And I remember telling Stuck Norris, these are the people we need to hang out and get to know while we're here. And ironically enough, the guy that was bike packing on his bicycle, when he was done with his shower and laundry and everything, came by our campsite to check us out and ask us about our hike and everything. He ended up just, you know, hanging out for a while. Turned out to be a really nice guy. His name was Mike. We had a good time talking to him. You know, he's on a similar adventure to us, just different, you know, a little bit different, on a bicycle. He apparently just finished up the Virginia mountain biking trail, and now he's put together this other route that it's like connecting all these really cool trails and paths that you can cycle on and camp along the way, and, you know, see these little towns and stuff. So that was super cool. Had a great time talking to him. Then the other guy on the motorcycle, he happened to walk over too. He heard us all talking, and you knew we were like-minded people, and turned out to be a really cool guy. His name was Chad. You know, he's riding his bike up and down the East Coast, doing some camping along the way, meeting people, seeing the towns. You know, we just all had it in common. It was really cool to hang out with each other. So when I tell you, you need to stop at these car camping areas through Shenandoah, it's because the people are awesome. You're going to meet so many cool people, have so many neat stories. It's just a great experience. So you know, that's pretty much it for the campground. Had an awesome time. Of course, the Wayside and everything had beer. Hated to have to pack it 3/4 of a mile, but we did what we had to do to get it done. And then the next morning we went back to the Wayside and had breakfast. And actually, this is something you should know too. We get to the Wayside to have breakfast before we get down to get back on the trail. And the waitress, it's a small little sit-down, almost diner in this particular one. She asks us who, you know, our names, and she had gotten Stuck Norris's name wrong, but she had my name right, and that's how we knew she knew, or that we were who she was talking about. She said, "Oh, a guy that was riding his bike. He just came in here and had breakfast. He knew that we were going to go down there as well, but we had to walk, so it took us a little longer to get there." And she said he left $20 towards you all's breakfast. So how cool is that, man? I mean, the he's not independently wealthy. He's like us. He's actually, he had told us he was a bartender for a long time. Finally just wanted to get out of the city and go look at stuff. So it's not like he's got tons of money. He's on an adventure too, you know, budget's tight for everybody. So it was really cool of him to give us that trail magic. So thanks again, Mike.
All right, this is our spot at the Big Meadows campground, which is sweet. You can see we got a bear box. It's a really nice campground, set up extremely well for people with tents. We really had a good time, had a grill. We were able to grill up some chicken that we picked up last night, which was awesome. And you can see we're right here by the ranger station, which was perfect because they allowed us to plug our phones and batteries and stuff in the back of that last night. So that was awesome. All right, just got a little bit of trail magic. It's kind of early in the morning, but still, it's awesome. That's for my friends right over there.
Hey everybody, I got to tell you about my lunch yesterday. A couple of 100 miles ago, we had been told by several hikers, all the way up till now, from a couple 100 miles ago, that when you get to the Skyland Resort and Restaurant, to go have the breakfast buffet. And you got to get there on time because they shut it down at 10:30, so you have to be there by 10 a.m. to take part in it. And guess what we did? We messed around, completely forgot about it. I didn't even know we were going to come up on it yesterday, but when we did, it was around lunchtime. And this is about mile 932 or so, heading north on the AT. So we decided, we were a little bummed that we had completely forgotten and missed the breakfast, but we decided to have lunch there. They offer lunch as well. It's not a buffet, but they do offer lunch. So we decided to stop in, check it out. We had a burger and fries, which was amazing, especially when it was a total surprise that we were even going to come up on it yesterday. So it was just an awesome thing. I highly recommend stopping in there. I would say you should probably go to the breakfast buffet based on what everybody else has told me, but it's certainly worth stopping in for lunch. Oh, and then when you leave out of there, the trail leaving out of there is like a freaking nature trail thing. There's a parking lot right there. You can take the kids up, and it's, I mean, just a big wide path that's graded extremely smoothly. So after we had this big lunch, we were able to just take it super easy. We didn't have any kind of big climbing right off the bat, and you know, just kind of work ourselves back into hiking. It gave me flashbacks to that time we got the Chinese food at that other road gap and got all stuffed on Chinese, and then got to walk a handicapped accessible part of the trail. So anyways, it was really cool. I thought I'd let you know. Definitely, if you're coming through, even if you missed the breakfast buffet, stop in for lunch. It's totally worth it.
All right, so Stuck Norris just found a nice little flush of hen of the woods. He's been looking for this for quite some time. That's apparently a type of maitake mushroom. I've never tried it. He said it's really good. We're going in town today, so we'll try to find a way to cook it, but I trust him when it comes to this stuff. He's pretty well versed in mycology and these edible mushrooms. It's not something that you should just trust anybody on before you eat, but yeah, we're pretty excited. I've never tried these. He said they're really good, so if we get an opportunity to cook them up while we're in town, I'll let you know how they are. All right, this is where that hen of the woods mushroom originated, right here at the base of this tree. There's actually a little more over there. You can see there's tons. Obviously, we're not going to take it all because we have no use for all of it, but there's an awful lot of it. And according to Stuck Norris, it's pretty early in the year for this stuff, so he's really excited. He just spent like an hour telling me all about this stuff and how you can tell that it's actually hen of the woods and not some sort of look-alike and everything like that. So it's pretty cool.
Hey everybody, I just made it to the Pass Mountain Hut, which is just outside of Luray, Virginia. We just left there this morning. That was a pretty easy hike here. The hut's behind me. You can't see it right now. It's through the trees. I'm in the tenting area. But anyways, Luray, Virginia, really cool place. It's a little pricey. I don't know how many hikers actually go through there, but I'm sure there's quite a few. There is one hostel in town. It's on the east side of town called Open Arms Hostel. We probably would have stayed there because it would have been a little more reasonable, but the whole hostel was rented out by a group for the weekend that we were there. So that wasn't an option. But Allison, the lady that owns and runs the hostel, she's really cool. She's the one that gave us a ride from the trailhead down into town. For 10 bucks, she gave us a ride. We figured it would be worth the 10 bucks if nothing else, because she would know the town, unlike, you know, a tourist that's just taking us down from the trailhead. And she did. As we came through the town, she stopped at the outfitter so that I could pick up a package. Then this morning, she stopped at the post office because they were closed on the weekend, and now it's Monday. She stopped there so that I could pick up another package at the post office. So that was really cool of her. But she did show us the where everything was in the town. So that was extremely helpful. We stayed at the Luray Caverns Motel, which was, believe it or not, the most reasonably priced hotel we found in town. And it's kind of not extremely conveniently located. It's on the west end of town, but you can walk to the Walmart, and there's a Food Lion and a Dollar General and everything. It's like a half to 3/4 of a mile, but it is walkable. There's a big shoulder. It's just, we didn't want to have to walk, you know, not on our day off. But anyways, we did, and we were able to get a resupply and everything like that, and it was cool. But the motel was really conveniently located to the caverns, as you could probably imagine. It was just right across the street, so that was convenient, and the caverns were awesome. This is something if you're hiking the AT, it's almost mandatory you stop and check these caverns out. They were just beautiful. I'm going to show you some video of that here in a minute, and trust me, the video is not going to do it any kind of justice. But it was one of those caverns that everywhere you looked, it was just these awesome, beautiful formations, and just everywhere. It was really cool. In fact, just the tour going through there is like 1.25 miles long, the path that you walk just through the caverns. So you can imagine there's tons to see, and every bit of it's awesome. So definitely stop in to Luray Caverns and check it out. And it brought up a lot of memories from when I went there as a kid. I don't remember it being that cool, but it was extremely cool. I'm really glad I went back. And there's plenty of other stuff to do there too. It's like freaking Six Flags or something. There's a lot of people there, but there's a lot to do. They had like a garden maze, a couple of museums there on site, a couple of little restaurants, stuff like that. So it was a really cool afternoon. Really fun to hang out there, and I think it was only $27, and that pretty much got you entrance to everything but the garden maze. So again, highly recommend stopping in there. So anyways, I got Stuck Norris over here. He's getting hammered drunk on Chardonnay again. No, I'm just kidding, or am I? But yeah, anyways, I'll keep you posted.
All right, everybody, I am down here at the water source for the Pass Mountain Shelter. The reason I'm making a video here is that when I was doing research and trying to figure out, what to expect out here on the trail, one of the things I was always curious about was water sources. I knew that they were available and in some areas pretty abundant, but I didn't know exactly what to expect. So what I'm going to do, I'm on sort of a short trip between Luray, Virginia and Front Royal, Virginia. I'm going to show you all of the water sources that I get water from on this little trip. So this is the one for the Pass Mountain Shelter. It's a piped spring. You can see there's a pipe. They've got it piped right into the spring, coming down into a pool, which is a really nice source because this water's always cold, coming right out of the mountain. But it's not always a piped spring we get it from. Not all springs are piped, and it's not only springs that we get water from. Sometimes we get them from creeks and even rivers in certain areas. Just depends on where we're at. But yeah, this is a nice one. So we'll start with this one. You can see on the right there, those are my dirty water bladders. I'm going to go ahead and fill those up and take them back to camp to filter. And I'll show you how I filter water when I get back up to camp. But then also you'll see where I have the bottom of a water bottle cut off. Always bring one of those with you to a water source. This one's pretty convenient to get to. I'll show you. It's like right behind the shelter. So it's extremely convenient. But the last shelter I was at, actually the last water source I got water from, it was at the Bird's Nest number 3 hut here in Shenandoah, and it was like 3 or 4/10 of a mile away from the shelter each way. So it was not convenient at all. So always bring the little scoop with you. You don't always need it. Some water sources you could just fill right up, fill your bottles right up. But even this one, you can see that I'm not going to be able to get my bottles completely full out of that spring. But what I will be able to do is look at this guy. Just crawling up my leg. Sorry, I felt something. But anyways, you always need to bring that little scoop so that you can even top off your water bottles. So I'm going to go ahead and get these bottles filled up, and then I'll show you how I filter it when I get back up to where I'm camping. All right, to filter water, it's pretty simple. What we do is, this is actually the water filter. This is the Sawyer Squeeze. Definitely recommend getting this bigger one over the Mini. The Mini just clogs up too fast. And this is the Tornado tube on top. It is directional. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna screw the Tornado tube onto my clean water bottle. You always only put clean water in your clean water bottles. And then we're gonna screw the whole thing onto the dirty water that I just collected from the spring. Just simple enough. And then we're going to invert it, and all you do is squeeze, and you can see it starts to filter water. So it only takes probably about 1.5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes if your filter is clean, to fill one of these entire bottles. So that's all there is to it. You've always got to pack out some sort of real food from town. Tonight it is chicken.
Alright kids, I just left the Pass Mountain hut, which was actually a pretty nice place. Something interesting happened this morning though. So I was packing up my bag down in the camping area, and I had turned my back for like maybe 30 seconds. And when I turned back around, I saw a bear. This thing was couldn't be any more than 5 or 6 feet from me. And I had heard it like kind of let out a deep breath. And then it sounded like it was scratching a tree, and that's exactly what it was doing. It was on its hind legs. It was probably about 5 foot tall, as it was on its hind legs. So it was an adolescent bear. It wasn't a cub, wasn't an adult. But this thing just looks at me like, dude, I'm a bear. Like, why aren't you scared? Why aren't you running? Like, it wasn't scared. And I grabbed my trekking poles, which honestly, with one trekking pole, I could have probably poked this thing. And just made some noise with them, and it slowly meandered off. After that, I was able to get a little bit of a video of it. If the video turned out any good, I'll put that on here. But what's ironic about that is that bears, generally speaking, are not graceful at all when they walk. They're you know, usually 99 times out of 100, you're going to hear one long before you see it. So it's usually, you know, that's kind of what keeps people safe from bears. But this one snuck up on me, man. It was weird. And then after talking to some of the guys at the hut, apparently it had been around at night, sniffing around tents and stuff like that. And, you know, it wasn't really doing any damage, but it was doing what bears do. It was looking for food. So that was pretty interesting. But to be honest, now that I've been out here kind of living with the bears, I've got less of a fear of them than I ever did. You know, I respect them, but I'm not really afraid of them. And I think pretty much the same goes, you know, that's what they think about us too. I don't think the ones here in Shenandoah are really afraid of us, because I'm pretty sure people feed them. But they do respect us, and you know, if you make noise, they'll go away, even if it's not quick. But today is my last official day in Shenandoah National Park, which is kind of bittersweet, because I mean, this really has been a highlight of the trip. It's been beautiful, tons of wildlife through here. All the wildlife's protected, nothing's hunted, so as you could imagine, there's an absolute abundance of wildlife. So it's been really cool, but I am ready to get to Harpers Ferry. That's a big milestone on the trail. It's not very far ahead of me. I should be in Front Royal tomorrow or the next day, just depends. But gotta leave the park today. Today I will hit my last wayside on the trail. And this one has a short order grill and a little store, so probably have a celebratory, you know, burger and fries for lunch, and a final blackberry milkshake. So I'm kind of excited about that, but anyways, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, here is the next water source I came across. I'm not going to get water here because I don't need any, but this is where you would get it if you need it. It's about 6 miles north of the shelter. You can see it's just a little stream. Kind of comes out through the woods. That'd be good water to go ahead and filter. Just continues down that way, and the trail actually crosses it. This is the trail here. All right, no more than about 1/10 of a mile north on the trail of that little stream I just showed you, there's actually a piped spring. This would be a much better place to get water. This is probably where that stream originated. It just comes across the trail there, but the spring's flowing really good. Good, clean, cold water. You still definitely need to filter it because it's an unprotected spring, but it's no more than, let's say, 10 yards off the trail. Trail's right up there where you see that deadfall. All right, this is the water source for the Gravel Springs hut. It's actually, it's not piped, but it's a really nice spring. As you can see, you do have to scoop out of here, and it's pretty conveniently located to the shelter over there. However, it's not very conveniently located to the trail. It's about 2/10 of a mile off the trail, and it's a steep 2/10. So if you're just passing through needing to get water, it'd be a pain, but it is a good water source.
All right, folks, when asked the question, what's an advantage of hiking the trail in 2017 over hiking it, say, 30 years ago, before we had all this fancy technology, cell phones, GPS, all that fun stuff that really makes it easy to get around out here? You know, I was thinking about it, and the answer is actually pretty obvious. It's that if you allow your mother to watch your cat for you while you're on this trip, you can, and probably will, be getting a picture of said cat sent to you every single day. I'm not kidding, people. You know, sometimes I go a few days without service, but as soon as I fire the old phone back up and I get service, I can rest assured, bam, multiple cat pictures. I'm not even kidding. I mean, it's like hiking with my cat out here. It's great. But anyways, thanks, Mom, for watching my cat, and here's a little bit of proof, just so y'all guys don't think I'm making this up.
All right, this is my next water source. It's probably about 6 miles north of that spring I showed you back at the shelter, and it's just a small little stream. And right here at these rocks, that's where the trail crosses. So I'm gonna get some water here. This, as you can see, I'll definitely have to scoop out of here. Look at this trail. This is not typical at all of the AT, but I'm loving it right now. They really know how to do it here in the Shenandoah National Park. I'm really gonna miss this place. All right, this is a water source just beyond the shelter, like maybe a mile or so, and you can tell it's just a really small trickle. It's like a little creek. You would definitely have to scoop out of here too, but it is moving, so it'd be fine if you filtered it. All right, this is the water source about 200-300 yards past the one I just showed you, and it's just looks like runoff. It's actually a culvert over there, but that's just a Forest Service road, so this would be fine to filter up and drink. But if you're near a busy road, you obviously don't want to do that. You want to steer clear of it. But this is where you would get water, and this is actually where the trail goes across. There's a white blaze, so it's right on the trail.